Hey, welcome families. It's the 2021 school year and you're coming to fourth grade. So welcome to fourth grade. I'm Mrs. Pugh.
And I'm Mrs. Cissney.
And we're really excited that you're here. Welcome to your back to school night. We know that this is not the way that we wanted to start the school year, but regardless, we're not going to mourn what we don't have. We're going to celebrate what we do, and we're going to make it a great year.
Yeah, we really look forward to working with your kids.
So now that you know who we are, this is my second year at NP3.
It's also my second year at NP3.
And we're really excited to be here. We're looking at what we're learning in distance learning and what the role is of the adult. So in our situation as teachers, our role is to be your students' teachers. We're going to be doing, creating activities for them to do. We'll be teaching them live. We'll be interacting with them in whole group, in small group, and individually as things go. Our expectation of parents is that your role would be what it would be if we were not in school. We don't expect you to come into the classroom and sit next to your child while you're here, nor do we expect you to sit next to your child at home. But we do expect you to support your child by knowing what they're doing, asking them what they're learning, interacting them, just like you would do when they came home from school traditionally. Communication is super important, and you'll hear us say that a couple of times. If there's ever anything that's happening, we ask that you please reach out to us and let us know. And we'll be talking about it more in a little bit, but if there's anything wrong with the school-provided technology, there's a tech ticket on the school website that we would have you fill out to let us know that as well.
So I get to talk about the daily schedule, and it's pretty cut and dry. Monday through Thursday, we'll have the same schedule. The day will start on Zoom at 9 a.m. However, we do have 8:30 to 9 on that schedule just because we want students, just as they would pack up their backpack and be ready to go for school, we want them to have the materials that they'll need for that day ready for school before 9 o'clock. So we're going to get to Google Slides in just a minute, or some slides where we'll show you where you can find the materials they need. But at 9 o'clock, we'll log on to Zoom. We'll do our morning meeting where we talk about our 7 habits and build our class community. And then we'll have math lessons, and that will all be live. The students will be able to sign off between 10 and 10:30, and then come back on at 11 a.m. for ELA live instruction. So an easy way to remember that is 9 and 11. The students need to be on at 9 for live instruction and 11 for live instruction every day. And they'll also end up with those invites in their calendar, which they can access through Google Classroom. So there's literally, it will be so easy for them to get on. And then after the 11 to 12 o'clock session, we'll have, obviously they'll take a lunch and get some exercise, hopefully. And then the rest of the afternoon is going to be independent work. Or as we move through the year, Mrs. Pugh and I will be setting up appointments with families or one-on-one and small group sessions with kids as needed. But like I said, the first few weeks, we're going to be getting to know each other, so we'll set those up as we move along. And then Fridays are just a little bit different. The students will still log on at 9 a.m., but it will only be that 9 a.m. session. After we get through all of our curriculum and lessons for the day, the students will log off, and they'll usually be doing an ELA or math assessment, and then for sure going to Mr. Jones' PE lesson, which will be filtered through Google Classroom.
And speaking of Mr. Jones, here's Mr. Jones, and he has a message for all of you.
Welcome everyone to the 2021 Back to School Night. My name is Mr. Jones. I teach the physical education here for NP3 Elementary. I teach the kindergarten through 5th grade. This year we're going to have Fitness Fridays to address the challenges of distance learning. Fitness Fridays will be every Friday. It'll be through your classroom teacher. If you're kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, it'll be about 30 minutes. If you are 3rd, 4th, or 5th, about 45 minutes of activities, games, exercises will be provided. In addition, there will be extra links and activities and games that your child can participate in, which we highly recommend and encourage. If you have any questions, please contact me at gjones@thomasunified.org. Thank you. Have a great night. Excited to see everyone this year. And I know that together we can address eating better, positive thinking, feeling good, and regular exercise. Thank you.
So again, each Friday, our class will participate in a PE lesson, and each lesson will have grade-specific skills and activities and drills, and that is a class of theirs. So thanks, Mr. Jones.
So hopefully at this time, you have all received and gone to pick up your materials that your students will need for the first month of fourth grade. We wanted to make it very clear what you can keep versus what needs to be returned. So pretty much everything in the blue folder can be kept. Even the work in the packets can be kept because the students are going to be turning that in a different way, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But everything in that folder can be kept, and then all math workbooks and reading books, the ruler, as you can see in the bottom, I think left of your screen, the novel, the planner, and the whiteboard, which is the pocket with the piece of paper in it, will need to be returned and come back to school no matter when we come back, because those are items that we're going to use in class.
So again, here's the technology piece. Every student was issued their school Chromebook. We would like you to use the school Chromebook. It is preloaded with some of the materials that we would already need and some of the links that are already needed. For example, the Zoom app is really important to be using. So if there's ever any problem with the school technology, then you would go to the school website and you would look for the tech ticket. That tech support ticket is really important. You would fill it out directly. Mrs. Johnson would get it then, and then she would be in contact with you right away. We're asking that you go there and fill it out versus asking us to relay the message, because if it goes into this tech ticket, it automatically goes to Ms. Johnson. She's able to deal with it, and it allows us to deal with any technology issue on school provided materials much quicker than if we were to do it any other way. So thank you very much. And you would find that on the school website.
In addition, if you need a hotspot maybe because you're finding as we get going there's some internet issues, that's where you would file and ask for that on the tech ticket. Exactly. So as the last, oh sorry, Ms. Pugh. As the last slide said, we're going to use Google Classroom to filter all of our assignments. So one really important piece of that is going to be the Guardian invite. A lot of our families are already linked up to their students' Google Classroom. If you are not, we'll be forwarding an email to you so that you have that opportunity. Once you do link up, you only have to do it once. So if your student stays with NP3 all the way through 12th grade, you'll be connected to their Google Classrooms all the way through 12th grade. And then in addition to all work being assigned in Google Classroom, if there are any websites we need the kids to go to research something, let's say, or videos to watch, those will all be embedded in the Google assignments that come through the Google Classroom. And Ms. Pugh is going to take us there right now.
So when you go to Google Classroom, your children are going to be much more familiar with this than you, but it's really important that you know. So when your students are going to anything, there is this little waffle right here in the corner. When you click on that waffle, you'll see a drop-down menu. This drop-down menu allows them to go to the Google Classroom. Eventually, it'll allow them to go to McGraw-Hill, where we'll be taking some of our ELA things. But this classroom is going to be everything. So when you see that icon, they're going to click on that icon, and they're going to come over to something that looks like this. Now, these are the classrooms that I'm a part of, but your student is going to have just a couple of them. They'll either have Mrs. Pugh's homeroom or Mrs. Cissney's homeroom. So we'll go to Pugh's homeroom. Now, the thing that whether your child has one or the other, they're really both identical. The only thing that would make them different is if my class is collecting a Flipgrid of their math assessment and they're showing me, the link for my classroom would be in mine and Mrs. Cissney's would be in hers. It just allows us to kind of separate the homeroom, but the assignments in them are the same. So it's just the ones that are unique that would be in each one.
And then one thing sorry, Mrs. Pugh wanted to add is Mrs. Pugh is going to be assigning different assignments, and I'm going to be assigning different assignments, but no matter what grade, we are a fourth grade team, so you do the assignment no matter which teacher has assigned it.
So it might say Mrs. Cissney added an assignment, but it is still for fourth grade. So you would click on their classroom, and you're going to see stream here. Hopefully you won't see any comments in stream. We're pretty much not going to need that one. On the left-hand side here, there's upcoming assignments and things that might be due. You go to classwork right here, and that's where kind of the money is. There's all the classwork is right in there. You'll see the current week slides. That's where the week at a glance is going to be. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you'll see different topics like Leader in Me or homework. Underneath those topics are where the assignments will be. So there's an assignment all about me. In this assignment, there's actually a Flipgrid assignment in that one. And then there's a personal mission statement. So here's one of the assignments that'll be due this week. And in this one, the directions are typically right there. The students will read the directions, we'll go over the directions with them in class, and then they will click on the doc, and then that is the document that they will use to actually do the answering on. When they get to that doc and they finish their answers, they filled everything in, there's a blue share button up here. On the students, most likely it'll say turn in. So you want to look for anything that says share, turn in, mark is done. It's not actually turned in until they click that button. And it's a lot easier if we don't have to go hunting for that. So again, we'll go back to the classroom here. That's when they're doing an assignment. We will be walking the students through all of that. One thing that you're going to want to be aware of though is this current week slides. We have a week that we will look at. When you click on that, you will see something that looks like this. And this is our week at a glance. So the students will be able to click on Monday and see what we're doing on Monday on any one of these days. So if on Thursday when we're getting ready to start, we'll click on Thursday. One thing that all the students will know is this little plant up here isn't just a plant. That plant will return them to this slide. Anytime they're working off this slide, it'll allow them to get back to this slide so that they can get other places. I'm going to go ahead and click on Thursday. And Mrs. Cissney, you want to explain what this one is?
Yeah, so this is this is what your students will be doing each day to fulfill the number of minutes that they have for class. So if you look at it, you can see they log in live at 9, and then it says log in live again at 11. So we are going to make it really clear what the students are going to be working on and whether it's going to be live instruction or whether it's going to be independent. As we move forward, like I said, some of these times might shift a little bit as we do some small groups as far as that wiggle room from 10:30 to 11. But for now, we're going to be doing everything whole class. And then another really important thing is at the bottom of the slide, you can see all of the materials, or the students can see all of the materials that they're going to need to have next to them for that day so they can come to class prepared.
And when they're done looking at this slide, you click on the plant will take you back to the home page. So as this grows throughout the week, there may be other links on here that we want them to look at. For example, this, I'm not going to click it because I don't want it to go there and start talking right away, but this is chapters 1 through 4 of the author Judy Blume reading her book, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, because that's one of the read aloud books that we will be reading to start the year. Down here, the MP3 is actually a direct link back to the MP3 website where you can see our teacher website. So again, this slide is very interactive and also a training tool because some of the math jobs, some of their ELA jobs will also be interactive slides. So it gives us a chance for them to practice using an interactive slide and moving around on that.
It's too bad you can't click on the coffee and get coffee.
So helpful. So that's Google Classroom. And again, all of our links, everything will be filtered through that. And we will be walking the students through that, but we want you to be able to see what it looks like.
Yeah, and all the current week slides will be there, and then we'll file all of the older week slides toward the bottom so that they'll still have access to those if needed. So communication is going to be really important this year. Obviously, Mrs. Pugh and I think of us as a fourth grade team, and each of our classrooms are little teams and communities within that fourth grade team. And communication is always really important as parents, and we are a part of that team. But it's even more important now that we're starting off distance learning. So everybody here, I believe, has been at MP3 already. So you already know that Mondays you'll receive a SMORE newsletter from your child's homeroom teacher. But other than that, outside of that, please text, call, or email us with anything you need, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Just know that if students do email us, which they can through their Google Classroom, we will definitely respond, but we'll probably end up CCing a parent or guardian just so all that communication is out in the open.
The only thing that we would add to that is that we are in the process of deciding whether we're going to be using Blooms or Mind or Calendly or one of the other apps that are out there for scheduling. And that decision hasn't quite been made yet, so we will be letting you know as soon as we have that information. Again, this is school. This isn't crisis learning. We're actually starting, and this is the real deal. So attendance will be taken at 9 a.m. every morning. So please, we will make every effort to open the Zoom meeting slightly before 9 o'clock. If your child logs in at 9 and they're waiting in the waiting room, they will not be marked absent. We will be able to mark them there at that time. But attendance will be taken each time there is a Zoom meeting when there is live instruction. And we will be watching not only the Zoom meetings, but their participations within the meetings. So that if we're asking questions, watching to see how they're interacting, all of that will be important information and will be something that we will give you feedback on as well. In Zoom, the students must show their faces. That may or may not be a difference for you from last year, but we do need them to show their faces while they are in class, and they must use their correct names. Students will log into Zoom at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And just a note on the Zoom for showing their faces and their correct names, it's a safety issue. When they come into the Zoom, they come into a waiting room. If they're not using their correct name, and if I don't know, or if Mrs. Cissney does not know who that name is, or they're using a nickname that is something silly like Luke Skywalker or something like that, we will not be allowing them into the Zoom meeting. Again, it's a safety issue for you, the protection of those who are in the meeting. And then if we do not see your student for a few lessons, we will be contacting you because we want to make sure that we're all on that same page and keeping that communication wide open. Also, we will be on the school Chromebooks. We have a program called Go Guardian. It also protects your student and protects you. Lets us know where your student is going while they're doing their schoolwork, and allows us to check to make sure that we're helping them make the best decisions with the technology that they have.
So the last thing we're going to talk about is the classwork and homework expectations. And we've already mentioned a lot of these things, but seeing as this is school, all classwork and homework assignments are expected to be completed to the best of the student's ability. So along with what Mrs. Pugh said, as far as they need to be interacting during live sessions, asking questions, participating, answering questions, also making sure that every assignment listed in Google Classroom is completed. So by completed, we mean you do the work and then you click turn in on the top, or sometimes it might say mark as done. So if there's any work that is pencil and paper, such as the packets that we've given you, those are going to be viewed by us and given feedback via Flipgrid, which is a program that we'll train the students on, or potentially taking photos and putting them in a Google form, which will also show the students how to do. But all pencil and paper work will be, if we need it, we will let you know how we need that turned in. And then the weekly homework assignments, I know there's kind of a blur between class and home now, but we are still going to have our homework assignments are going to be due on Fridays. And those are all in one Google Classroom assignment. And it basically has 3 parts. Mrs. Pugh and I write a letter each week to our students. And the part we like the most is that they're going to write back. So they'll read the letter, they'll write back to us. And then they'll also read 20 minutes each night from their independent reading novel. And that'll all be turned in on Friday by clicking turn in on that assignment in Google Classroom. We're also going to be giving feedback through Google Classroom through the comment feature, and also obviously when we're working back and forth with students in a live situation on Zoom, they'll be getting a lot of feedback. And just as if they miss any class, if any assignments are missing, we'll be letting you know, or that Google Classroom will also let you know when you sign up to be a guardian and connect to them.
So on the evening that we were able to share back to school, we were able to have a time for question and answers. However, since we don't have that time, we'd like to encourage you to go back to the idea of email, text, or phone call us. Let us know if you have any questions. But in the meantime, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We know that this is not the way we wanted to start the school year, but we do know that we will make every effort to get in contact with you. And remember, we are a team. We're really excited you're here this year, and it's going to be a wonderful year.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.